It's Thursday, September 28th, 2023. Well, we have some things to talk about today. I'm going to share some articles with you. I'm going to share my opinion with you. Please feel free to comment down below. I would love to know your opinion, love to know your thoughts. And as always, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Ray Dalio says the U.S. is going to have a debt crisis. He says, I think you're going to get a meaningful slowing of the economy. And I 100% agree with Ray Dalio, who is also a historian. And he's been sounding the alarm for quite a while now. And we are getting very, very close to, I think, some very, very large events unfolding. And yes, I do believe we're going to have a debt crisis in America. I believe we're going to see a commercial real estate crisis, which has already begun, a housing crash, and a bond market crash. Bill Ackman came out today and says that we're heading to 5% on the 10-year bond yield. We're not that far away right now. So everyone is predicting big trouble ahead. Maybe not everyone. There are a lot of people on the television who believe that the economy is doing well, who are telling you to buy a house, go buy a car, jump into these markets. But some of these large players, some of these billionaires are sounding the alarm. And many of you have been watching this unfold now for a few years, and reality is beginning to set in. The whole phony economy is coming to an end. Peter Schiff said that yesterday. And today, as I was at the gas station, a Chevron station in Rancho Mirage, super unleaded was $7.07. $7.07 now for super unleaded here in the desert. But I was reading this article on The Hedge yesterday with Peter Schiff. It says most people don't want to grasp the gravity of the situation. He is 110% correct. There is still a lot of hope out there. There is a ton of denial out there. People don't want to hear it. They don't want to admit it. They don't want their little bubbles bursted. They just want to go on with life. But I don't know at this point how many people cannot see what's going on, because all you have to do is go to the grocery store. All you have to do is go get yourself some $7.07 super unleaded today, and you'll have a real quick understanding of what is happening to this economy, what's happening to your purchasing power, what's happening with inflation. The economy is buried in trillions of dollars of debt. The cost of the debt is rising, ladies and gentlemen. The economy simply is not built to handle an even moderately high interest rate environment, Peter Schiff says. He says every day we're getting closer to a major stock market crash or a financial crisis or both. He says the economy is built on a foundation of cheap money. Federal government, state government, municipalities all borrowed and took on this cheap money, and now they're all drowning in massive amounts of debt. And I don't know how is Chicago going to get out of their debt? How are we ever going to pay off this national debt that we have now? Not going to happen. He says the real risk is inflation. And what is the biggest factor driving that inflation risk? It's the size of the government deficits. Because the bigger the government deficits are, the more inflation the government is likely to create. So if you're not living in a bubble today, if you're not relying on hope, you better be very, very careful out there. You better really, really be preparing. And, you know, I don't think there's many things you can do right now other than to put real things away, to buy real things and put it away. Barterable items, putting some gold and silver away, putting food and water away, making sure you have security to protect all this stuff. Owning real things, real assets. Market Watch, contract signings for U.S. homes drop in August to lowest level since April of 2020. Pending home sales fell 7.1% in August from the previous month. It is down. Pending home sales are down 18% year over year. Now remember, pending home sales, these are not closed escrows. These are not done deals. A pending home sale is a home that is under contract. It's in escrow. We know that almost 17% of homes that were under contract last month fell through. So I think that number is probably going to go up. So, you know, the pending home sale numbers are collapsing, but we don't even know how many of these homes are even going to close, because last month we just saw devastation with pending home sales. Pending home sales collapsed. Nearly 18% of homes that were in escrow did not close. CNBC. Epic Games is eliminating 16% of its workforce and selling Bandcamp. CEO Tim Sweeney said, "For a while now, we've been spending more money than we earn," he said. "The only way to reach financial stability is by layoffs." Think about that. We have been spending more money than we earn. CEO Tim Sweeney, Epic Games. So I don't know how many people work for that company, but 16% of that company is now being laid off. I'm sure some of those people have mortgages, car payments, maybe student loan debt, credit card payments. I mean, how in the world are people going to continue doing this? $7 for a gallon of gas out here. Food prices going up. You want to go to a restaurant. I mean, you go to like an average restaurant now for two people with tip, you're probably going to spend about $100 for just two people. I don't know how much longer this is going to go on. Now, shifting gears here a little bit. I read this article a couple days ago, and it's been all over the internet, but now it's being reported by TMZ. Homeless camp outside of Altman Brothers office. Now, if you've ever watched $1 Million Listing, the Altman brothers, these two brothers, I believe originally they were from the East Coast. They came to Los Angeles and they've built up a luxury real estate empire. And they have an office in Beverly Hills. They film out of that office some of the episodes on $1 Million Listing. And now there are multiple camps parked, or multiple tents, literally a small tent city, people camping out in front of their office, their multi-million-dollar office in Beverly Hills. So, I mean, this is just, when I watch this stuff, when I see this stuff with my own two eyes, it's still shocking, but it's happening every day across the state of California. It's happening across this country now. But this homeless camp now, in front of this multi-million-dollar office, the Altman Brothers office in Beverly Hills, it's absolutely shocking. And I wonder what is going through their heads right now with this. But it's only going to get worse, ladies and gentlemen, and the homeless population is only going to explode as more people lose jobs, as more people are taking on massive debt that they cannot pay. You're going to see more people defaulting on debt. They're going to default on their mortgages. They're going to default on the car payments. And as I've said for many, many years now, if you don't have a good church, and those are very far and few between, if you don't have a family to fall back on, there is a potential that you could become homeless. Nobody's immune from this economy and the devastation of this economy, ladies and gentlemen. We are heading into a serious depression now. I know that a lot of people cannot even admit we're in a recession at this point, but by the time that the people on the television, by the time the politicians tell us that we're in a recession, we will be in a full-blown depression. It's unbelievable what's going on. It still shocks me how we're continuing to waste money, how we are sending money all over the world by the billions of dollars. We're supporting other economies. We're supporting other people. And we have so many people hurting here in America in need. Why we're not cutting taxes, why we're not drilling for energy, why we're not promoting small businesses in America and doing everything we can to incentivize new business, incentivize hardworking people to work, to find jobs, and that people get fair wages. And you know, we're under this perception that we have to continue raising wages for people in order to make a living. How about maybe we stop taxing people so much, and how about maybe we stop spending so much so that maybe people actually have purchasing power with their dollars? If we continue to fight inflation by just raising wages, I guess that, the UPS driver is making $172,000 a year. Well, maybe in a couple of years they'll be making $250,000 a year. And, you can work at McDonald's and you can make $47 an hour at McDonald's. So we'll just keep raising wages and we're all going to pay for it. We're all going to spend more when we go out to eat. We're all going to spend more when we ship a package. It all gets passed on to you and I. And we're never going to defeat inflation by raising wages. The only way we're going to defeat it is, unfortunately, raising interest rates. We're going to have to stop spending as a nation. The massive amount of spending, the waste of money, we've got to tighten up the reins. More money needs to be coming in. We have a $2 trillion deficit now. We need more money coming in than going out. Now, if your household is spending more money is going out than coming in, you eventually go bankrupt. Eventually, you lose your cars, you lose your house, you lose everything. And America just keeps printing money, keeps putting digits on a screen, and that's why we've been allowed to get away with this for so long. But how much longer can this fiasco continue, ladies and gentlemen, before it no longer continues? The world is watching this, and this is why the BRICS nations is going to continue to grow, and it's going to continue to get more powerful. Here's an interesting article today from The Hedge. Nestle CFO says people are consuming less as food and beverage demand wanes. Francois Xavier Rogers says people are consuming less, or they're eating less, or they're wasting less, or they're eating more out of their homes. The CFO blamed the end of the health crisis era emergency food stamps and a slide in consumer savings on demand woes. As Morgan Stanley's Mike Wilson said, the consumer is falling off a cliff. And I think he is spot on. After years, you have to think about this, after years of the consumer binging on credit cards, tapping into their savings, tapping into their retirement, spending money they don't have, the consumer now is in very, very big trouble. And I think it was a while back when Jamie Dimon said that the money would run out in August. Maybe he said September. I think he said August, but here we are, very, very close. Now we're at the end of September, and it looks to me like the consumer is running out. They're tapped out. And it's going to be at the worst possible time because, see, inflation's not going away. It's going to get worse. Gas prices here now, I mean, the cheapest gas you can find now, regular, is $5.99, $6 a gallon. Super over $7 a gallon. Food prices are still going up. Cost of living going up. Utility bills going up. Health insurance going up. Auto insurance going up. Everything is going up. And now the average consumer is broke. They're tapped out. And this is a recipe for disaster. This is when you want to have a war chest. This is when you want to have a pile of cash, a pile of gold, a pile of silver, and the smallest amount of debt possible. Most people are going into this with the opposite. They have no war chests, no cash, no assets, and a lot of debt. And they have no plan. For years, many of you have been saving, you've been stacking, you've been putting food and water away, you've been preparing, you've added skill sets, you've paid off debt. You have a plan. Most people do not. And this is what's going to be very, very concerning because as times get worse, we're going to see things socially get much worse. You will never guess what happened to the strong U.S. consumer after today's huge GDP revision. This on The Hedge today also. Think about this. Every single monthly payrolls print this year in 2023 has been revised and has been revised down. All the data that we've been getting on housing and unemployment and GDP and you name it, it's all been very, very massaged. Payrolls get revised down. U.S. consumption revised down. Second quarter personal consumption went from 1.71%, now revised down to 0.8%. Not a very good sign for the U.S. economy. I want to finish with this last article. I was watching a little bit of this on the news earlier today. I'm sure most of you have been watching this for the past couple days. All hell breaks loose out in Philadelphia as teen looters target retail stores. Just, I was watching a Lululemon store being absolutely assaulted. People just grabbing whatever they can, running out the doors, destroying the store, just merchandise all over the floor, just taking whatever they want, destroying things, breaking windows. It's just a free-for-all. And it's happening every day. It's just another city, another store, another story. But it's really important to pay very, very close attention to this, because as I've been speaking about this daily now, people are doing this for a couple extra bucks. I mean, they're going to go in, steal some clothes, go steal a handbag somewhere, sell it on eBay, sell it on Craigslist, sell it at a pawn shop for pennies on the dollar. But it seems like people are really doing this more for fun and entertainment. And that's pretty sick. We have a pretty sick culture today. A pretty sick mentality. We have no respect for people's businesses, for their jobs, no respect for law enforcement, no respect for the average person. These people have no respect for themselves. But this is going to continue to go on, and it's going to escalate. But again, my concern is what happens when people begin to get hungry. Now, this country's broke. We all know that. We can't pay the debt back. We continue to hear about food crisis and food insecurity in this country. We know the food lines are getting longer and longer. We have 43 million people in this country that are food stamp recipients, and more people are losing their jobs, and we're seeing more middle class now dependent on food charities and the system to feed them. So I believe we're going to get to a point, now we're looking at a possible government shutdown. How bad that could get, I have no idea. But I do know at some point things are going to break. And my big concern is, from watching what's happening socially across this country, the big concern is if people aren't getting their food stamps, if people aren't getting government subsidies, if people don't have jobs where they're getting a paycheck, of course, they're not going to be going to Louis Vuitton stores, Lululemon stores, the Apple store. They're going to the grocery store. They're going to go to the Walmarts, and they're going to wipe out all the food. And then when that's all gone in less than 24 hours, there's still going to be a lot of very, very hungry people out there. Where do you think they're going next? Where do you think they're going next? I want you to think about that. I'm going to leave it right there today, but I want you to think about that. After they've hit all the Louis Vuittons and the Rolex stores and the Apple stores and the Lululemon stores and the Nike shops, and where do you think they're going next, especially when they're hungry and there's no more food on the shelves at Walmart, there's no more food on the shelves at the grocery stores. And I know that a lot of people out there think that that could never happen, but take a look at what has happened in the last 24 months and then say that you don't think it could happen. Anything can happen now. Anything is possible. But where do you think they're going to go next when they get hungry? Think about that. Comment down below.